Long before modern cities, the ancient Middle Eastern deserts were brutal, zero-sum arenas controlled by ruthless criminal syndicates. Economic mobility was non-existent. A woodcutter named Ali Baba scraped by selling timber, while his brother Qasim lived in a palace, having married into a fortune that Ali Baba could never earn through labor alone. This vacuum of poverty forced individuals into the wilderness, where surviving day to day meant operating in the shadow of the same gangs that monopolized the region's trade. The syndicate guarded their hoard with 40 armed riders, yet the physical wall of the desert was bypassed not by a larger army, but by a single string of spoken data. While working in a remote canyon, Ali Baba witnessed 40 thieves arrive at a sheer rock face. They weren't looking for a path around it, they were there to interface with it. This diagram outlines their security infrastructure. The central node represents a massive vault, secured by a phonetic access code, Open Sesame. Ali Baba intercepted the password, and years of stolen wealth were exposed to an unauthorized user. Despite the scale of the hoard, Ali Baba gathered only what his beasts could carry. He masked the gold under a layer of firewood, ensuring his sudden acquisition wouldn't trigger the syndicate's detection. Breaching the vault moved Ali Baba's family out of poverty, but it was his strict psychological discipline, knowing when to stop taking, that kept him from being discovered. That discipline didn't extend to his brother. When Qasim saw the quality of Ali Baba's new gold, he threatened his brother until he surrendered the vault's coordinates. Qasim brought 10 mules and massive chests, intending to extract the syndicate's entire reserve. He entered the cave with the arrogance of a man who believed wealth was a right rather than a risk. Euphoric panic flooded Qasim's brain, causing total cognitive overload that instantly wiped the phonetic access code from his memory. When the syndicate returned to find an unauthorized intruder trapped inside their secure location, they executed him immediately. Without the mental framework to handle a dangerous secret, raw greed turns a massive windfall into a fatal liability. The syndicate realized their password had been compromised. They shifted their entire operation from hoarding wealth to actively hunting the source of the leak. The thieves systematically tracked the movement of the stolen gold, mapping the leak straight back to Ali Baba's doorstep. Ali Baba was a woodcutter, not a strategist, but his servant Morgiana possessed a highly observant intellect, and she recognized the signs of an external threat long before he did. When a scout marked their door with white chalk to signal a night raid, Morgiana didn't just erase it. She replicated the mark on every door in the street, corrupting the syndicate's targeting data. Stealing a secret leaves a systemic footprint. Once you take the data, you become the target, and intelligence becomes your only viable shield. The syndicate leader eventually attempted a social engineering attack, disguising himself as an oil merchant to gain entry into Ali Baba's courtyard with 38 jars. Morgiana noticed the jars were far too heavy and made human noises. She realized the merchant had smuggled the entire strike team inside the house for a coordinated midnight assassination. She didn't wait for the breach. Morgiana used a hypnotic dagger dance to distract the leader, then used the same blade to neutralize the threat before he could signal his men. With the syndicate destroyed, Ali Baba secured the cave's resources permanently. He distributed the wealth to his community and rewarded Morgiana's intellect with her legal freedom. Surviving a heist requires the luck of a password, the restraint to avoid greed, and the wisdom to elevate the allies who can see the threats you miss.